is how the deep state is being dismantled piece by piece. And DOGE has a lot to do with that. We're going to be talking about DOGE in depth in a while. But right now, the main topic is USAID. USAID is a criminal organization. Time for it to die, says Elon Musk. And breaking, USAID senior officials put on leave after physically trying to stop DOGE from accessing agency systems. I repeat, physically trying to stop DOGE. Like these guys literally chained themselves to the archives or something like that. This is a huge cover-up. And the things that we're finding out, and this will be an ongoing topic, have been horrifying in terms of how much money is going down the drain for something that is not aid. And this is a huge misconception that I myself had that misconception. I swore that USAID meant that, okay, aid given by the United States. No, it doesn't mean that. But let's go step by step. First things first. And the first thing is that it is over. More than 600 USAID employees have been locked out of the agency's computer systems overnight. The rest received emails saying that at the direction of agency leadership, the headquarters building will be closed to agency personnel on Monday, February 3rd. It is officially closed, or let's say that it's closed because we're going to be talking about in a while who is currently in charge. USAID staffers told to stay out of Washington headquarters after Musk said Trump agreed to close it. It's a huge grift. You remember that I mentioned Venezuela, by the way. In 2019, the opposition of Venezuela, you know how much money the USAID gave the opposition, the control opposition of Venezuela? $200 million. $200 million. And guess what? Nobody knows what they did with that money. Nobody knows. I mentioned one of those SOBs yesterday, you know, Juan Guaido. He is the main one responsible. 200 million went poof, and nobody can tell where those 200 million given by USAID precisely went in 2019. So I have, let's not say first-hand experience, but I know in my own country how those things have gone. Two USAID officials, John Voorhees and his deputy, were put on leave late Saturday night after refusing to allow DOGE members access to USAID systems. The DOGE members threatened to physically call the police after being refused entry. They were trying to access the security and personnel files. Federal officials are concerned that Trump is trying to fold USAID into the U.S. State Department in an effort to cut government corruption and bloat. USAID employs approximately 10,000 people. 10,000 people, excluding contractors, with 2/3 of them overseas. 60 USAID members were already put on leave last week after trying to circumvent President Trump's executive order on stopping foreign aid. And this is not actually foreign aid. This is development. Development of what is important, quote unquote, for the United States, as in developing in other countries. And developing what? Okay, Maya Schwarzenberg, they erased their X account, but there is what USA didn't want you to know. $2.1 billion with a B, public money went to Gaza just in the last year. 230 million additional funding in November last year to, quote, support the economic recovery in West Bank and Gaza. End of quote. The what? The what? F? We're talking about millions and billions. These are big numbers. These are not big numbers, huge numbers. And well, heads have begun to roll. Heads have begun to roll. Bill Kristol said, the deep state is far preferable to the Trump state. Who's this guy? I have no idea who this guy is. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to find out pretty quickly in the following days. But Data Republican says, hello, Mr. Kristol. For you, the deep state is preferable because you are listed as the president of defending democracy which is an indirect beneficiary of USAID through Rockefeller Philanthropy Advisors. And they had this graph, and well, the numbers, as I'm telling you, the numbers are counted in millions. Millions. I should have like the Dr. Evil. The Dr. Evil meme is $1 million. $1 million here is nothing. It's literally nothing. Mike Benz, we're going to be talking about Mike Benz. I'm going to suggest that you follow him. Why was USAID funding the production of heroin in Afghanistan? I mean, what? Feds, U.S. taxpayer funds helping irrigate, fertilize Afghan opium funding Taliban. All right, how nice is this? And we're going to be watching a video developed by Mike Benz, by the way. Make sure that you follow him on X. He is the literal top of the line researcher on all this stuff, all these corruption scandals. His Joe Rogan episode was really popular, and AOC is also into the into this. What AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? This is a 5-alarm fire. The people elected Donald Trump to be president, not Elon Musk. Having a non-elected billionaire, which is own foreign debts and motives, raiding U.S. classified information is a grave threat to national security. This should not be a partisan issue. And yeah, she was referring precisely to USAID. But what do we have here? Thanks to Mike Benz. Okay, her trip to, I don't know how to pronounce this country. I don't want to fall into that trap. I don't know how to pronounce this, but you know that her trip here, okay, was through the Niamey International Development Program, which is funded by USAID, a known CIA front. Oh my God, this is all. And what do you know, shortly after she left, there was a Western-backed coup that overthrew the government. This is all connected. This is all connected. Even when do we get to see the actual stuff, the actual dirt on AOC? Oh, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, political instability. This is a high priority for the U.S. Embassy. This is the thing that many people are asking. Why is the United States priority, the stability of so many nations in there? Again, you can call myself in many ways an ignorant in geopolitics, but still I am asking the same questions as everybody else. Okay, I can understand that we can, some kind of exchange of goods, exchange of information, exchange of interest, some kind of exchange. But how come that you pour money and resources year after years into countries that cannot support themselves and that don't really represent a net positive? I don't know. I'm going to find out how that country is pronounced. You won't marvel at Nigerian live from afar. You will take part in it. One of your required classes is actually a volunteer placement in the community. You can do whatever you want. This is like all this stuff, and she was into it. AOC was into it, and the breaking is that in the effort of making all this simpler to grasp, to have, of course, to be more efficient, to end all the corruption of previous years, and we're going to be taking a look at all the spending of previous years. President Trump has just appointed Secretary of State Marco Rubio as acting director of USAID. It was revealed this morning that USAID gave millions for bad coronavirus research. Bad coronavirus research in Wuhan in 2019. And then attempted to cover it up. Anthony Fauci, where are you? Where is Dr. Fauci, the freshly pardoned Dr. Fauci, that he didn't do anything? Why would he be pardoned in advance? For what? The corruption ends now. This is something, there's I told you yesterday, yeah, some conspiracies end up being true, and some conspiracies are worse than you can imagine. That is something that is the tip of the iceberg. The tip of the iceberg. And I was talking about Mike Pence. And wow, so USAID doesn't even stand for USAID. It stands for United States Agency for International Development. And their budget is bigger than the State Department and the actual CIA combined. This is huge. This budget is huge, but what kind of interests? And just in case, you can check this out on X, but I'm going to play a video created by Mike Pence, in which he explains very thoroughly and in a very succinct way what this USAID stands for. Let's play it.
So, what is USAID? When people hear the name USAID, they focus on aid. They focus on thinking like it's humanitarian work. But aid is not actually in the name of USAID. USAID stands for the United States Agency for International Development, not aid. It's not a charity. And
this is important. It's not a charity. That's what I thought. But, okay, USAID. When they sent those $200 million to Venezuela that went poof, I thought that was an aid. No, that was a development for something. And that's one of the reasons why Venezuela is in a dire position right now, because Trump knows that this opposition fooled him back then, and they stole the money, and that is a pot that's about to explode. But let's not get ahead of ourselves.
International development is simply capacity building. It is local and regional capacity building done across the whole world, i.e. internationally. The primal id in USAID, international development, is about capacity building of assets that can be used by either the Pentagon, the State Department, or the CIA for their own activities. So,
okay, the CIA for their own activities. That is concerning in itself.
If you're the Secretary of State and you were asked by the National Security Council or the President to do something in a different country, overthrow their government, stop the passage of a bill in a foreign country's legislature, how would you do that? And the first thing that I said is you would look at the assets that already exist in the country. Do we need new assets in addition to the ones that we currently have, or are the existing assets, can they achieve this simply by giving them enough money?
So it's like you are playing chess and you are making the board bigger, and you are buying other pieces for your own gain. But then it's for these secret projects from the CIA and the Pentagon, and the moment that they become secret, you don't know what is going on, and that's when they begin to fund things that get blown out of proportion. And that's the issue. That is the lack of transparency is the main issue here. So if this was transparent, if this was open, if this was a kind of open source that anybody could take a look at the projects, that would be another thing. But you know that they are not interested in anybody looking at this.
Giving them enough resources, giving them enough training, giving them enough support. One of the main ways that capacity building would be financed would be through USAID. USAID would say that it's doing something, funding a hospital system, funding universities, funding civil society organizations, funding media institutions, funding independent media in the region. Sorry, something.
Independent, yeah.
In my eye, independent media in the region on USAID payroll. And those institutions, those assets, would then be bigger and more powerful and more capable more capable of serving the State Department's goal, aka advancing U.S. national interests.
U.S. national interest, and who decides what is in the interest of the United States? That is important. That is the transparency that is required.
USAID has a bigger budget than the State Department, over $50 billion. It is a bigger budget than the CIA. The entire intelligence community only has about 72 billion. So that's the CIA plus the 16 others. And USAID has a bigger budget than the CIA and is almost the size of the entire intelligence community combined. That is how important USAID is to American statecraft. It is an intelligence community, a State Department, and a Pentagon assistance organization rolled into one. I just copied this from the USAID website. USAID carries out U.S. foreign policy, advances U.S. national interests by promoting broad-scale human progress. At the same time,
broad-scale human progress. No, not buying it.
It expands stable, free societies, creates markets and trade partners for the United States, and fosters goodwill abroad. The operative phrases here are carries out U.S. foreign policy. This is not charity work. This is not aid. This is cynical, self-serving purposes. And what is it seeking to do? Free societies, open societies. Why does USAID want other countries to be open societies?
It's important, the concept of open versus closed societies. That is the spot. That is the sweet spot, okay, in which you buy your influence into a country because, well, yeah, you're essentially buying more pieces in the chessboard. Like you're buying more. You have black and white pieces, but you're buying blue pieces in another country, and you're extending the chessboard to your liking with, a fuck ton of money.
Because that's how you get the influence in. If a country is a closed society, they're closed off from USAID influence. We cannot capacity build our assets there. Closed societies box USAID out. China is a closed society. That is why we have not been able to topple the government of China, despite having tried for 100 years now almost. We have not been able to topple Putin from Russia. Why? Because Russia is a closed society. Like China, they kicked USAID out. It is not an open society. And so the USAID can't just take over their entire media ecosystem by funding 100 different media propaganda outlets in the region to sway hearts and minds. And remember, that's what this is. It's hearts and minds and cash. That's
hearts and minds and cash. That is the actual influence. You're trying to expand your influence for your own projects and goals. And what are those projects and goals? Well, nobody knows because all those are from behind closed doors.
So soft power is. They call it hearts and minds work, but it's cash that does the moving of those hearts and minds, especially of the leaders of the movements.
So that's why USAID is the tip of the iceberg of the huge corruption scandal that DOGE is exposing. This is something that is unprecedented. There has been so many people from the left are complaining about this. Oh, how they get to decide what is to be spent or not. But previously, nobody knew where all that money went. Is that all that spending was literally secret? So you're okay with taxpayer money funding what? We're about to look all those examples of crazy stuff being funded by taxpayer money. But it's something that the people should know where their hard-earned money paid in taxes is going, and what is the rationale behind this project? What are the rationale of funding? We're going to be saying this the wildest examples, both outside and inside the United States. USAID, of course. USAID, it's more outside the United States, but, well, let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Again, this would be an ongoing topic because there's a lot that is coming out to the light, and the show is just getting started. Let me see your live chat. You see the live chat that is the heart and soul of our show. Our show, this is the heart and soul. And remember to download my 100 free body language tips in the description of this video, and you will be subscribed to my awesome emails as well.